everybody, and welcome back to another monthly video video blog. That word vlog, it doesn't sit well with me. I know it's a standard. It's like people say it, it's a thing. It never works for me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's now been another month or more since the last one of these. And I'm actually pretty tardy for getting this video up. And the thing is, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but whenever I have a big project that I'm working on, it's really all I'm focused on. And I have a really hard time breaking myself away from painting to do anything else. I mean, literally anything else. I will sit down and I will paint for 8 to 10 hours, and then I'm done. And I don't want to do anything before I get started, and I don't want to do anything after I'm done. So it's really hard to even do things like answering email, which I know I've been not great at for the past couple of weeks. When I'm not this focused on painting, I answer emails like this. When I'm focused on painting, not so much. It's sometimes a day, sometimes two. And sometimes I get really bad, and it's like 3 days before I answer an email, which is really, really bad because, you know, I depend on these emails to provide my income. So I need to do them. It's the necessary evil that one must complete in order to do the thing that one wants to do, which in this case for me is painting miniatures, which I still love. And right now, like for the past few weeks, actually for the past couple of months, really, I've really been feeling it. I've been feeling this, like, I know I don't make a ton of money doing this, but goddamn, don't I love it. And part of that is this feeling of improvement. Like, I can see my work improving from month to month. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes you can get into a rut where you just feel like, I'm not going to get any better. This is where I am, and this is where I will stay. And I've gone through years of that, years of no noticeable improvement in my painting. And to be fair, it may be because my focus at that time had changed from trying to paint well to just trying to paint and get stuff done for gaming purposes. And so when you're not focused on actually improving your craft, it can take a long time to actually improve your craft because you're not pushing yourself. And right now, I feel, well, I mean, obviously, the more you paint, the better you're going to get. And I paint a lot. But I also feel like things like the watercolors paints, and again, this is something I know I've mentioned before, but the watercolors paints have made me better at layering and glazing just because of their particular properties work well with those techniques. And those are techniques that I've always struggled with other hobby paints because it just always felt like they were fighting me on it. And I know other people do it, and they do it incredibly well, and certainly better than I do it now. And I don't know why it took this one type of paint for that to really click in for me. But even now, like right now, I will avoid doing those kinds of techniques with other paints because I just know that if I use the watercolors, it's just going to work. So there you go. It's my unpaid promotion for watercolors today. But let's just talk about the work itself. The last month has been busy. I actually did take a few days off at the end of March in order to just decompress a little bit. I actually felt like I had a little bit of a buffer. Like I'd finished up all the projects that I'd scheduled for that month, and I could have just rolled right into my next projects, but I so rarely actually take any breaks that I just wanted to take some time to myself. And so I painted some of my own projects. I stepped away from painting for a day or so. I don't step away very often. And when I do, it's usually because I have other things I have to do, like packing and shipping or doing videos. The main reason I'm doing this video today is because I have a dentist appointment in about an hour, 2 hours, about 2 hours. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to get much painting done anyway. Might as well set up the camera and, you know, do that video that I've been avoiding for a while. But right now, I am working on the latest expansions for Kingdom Death Monster. And that has been fabulous. There are some really interesting creatures in those expansions that have allowed me to kind of really spread my creative wings. I definitely wanted to share some of the things I've been working on. This is the Gorm. And I like to think of him as a giant zombie baby anglerfish. Because that's what he is. And this guy, he's just super fun to do this kind of weird, bruised, dead, fleshy looking thing. I don't know. There's so many things I did with this because it was just calling out for different techniques. I layered in some, I airbrushed in some veining after doing the initial green flesh tone, and then I added purples with the airbrush. And then I went back over with the flesh tone again, very transparent, to sort of get all of those colors to kind of fade back into the background, really under the surface of the skin. And then did some more veining with a brush. I don't know, you might be able to see it, maybe not. Eventually when I do photos, you'll be able to see it for sure. And then again, did more layers, and it's really got this nice depth to the flesh tone that I'm super happy with. And this is the Dragon King, which is one of the more interesting dragons I've ever painted. And again, more use of the airbrush to get the nice tonal variations to the skin, but instead of just doing green variations, there's a lot of purple in his flesh over the top of the green, and you can kind of see some reds and purples in his kind of throat area. And these reds, this red and this red here, those are actually an ink that I picked up at Michael's, is a Winsor & Newton ink that I just wanted to experiment with, and I was really surprised at how well it covered, like how brilliant that comes out, even though inks are usually pretty transparent. So very happy with that. And again, you know, once you see the photographs, you'll get to see some more detail. This is the Lion God, which is certainly one of the more weird designs, because he's got this weird head tentacle thing that he's got a face growing out of. But I liked his base. It's pretty cool. I did some fun, you know, experimentations with flesh tones from Watercolors. There's Flesh Tone 5 is a color that I don't use very often because it's almost this weird purpley flesh. But I realized that on this, the kind of oddness of the color works for it. Not only that, I've also figured out that it seems to be a good base for doing dark flesh tones. So if you add some red browns over the top of it, the flesh immediately goes very dark. And I actually use that on the torso arms that he's got holding the lamps. But since I was still going for a more kind of weird flesh tone, it's not necessarily a good example of kind of human type flesh tones. else we got? Oh, this is their Slender Man. And as you can see, he's really bright. And he's based on the concept art. There's a card that normally comes with these things that shows you the original concept art, and he's very light. And so it's really just mimicking that card art. But I like it. Again, though, it's also really weird because Slender Man, usually you associate that with dark colors or black. And then to go in entirely the opposite direction with that is kind of cool. And this is probably one of the most regular looking things that I've done. And this is the Manhunter, who's kind of carrying around a gallows with him. But he's, he's a pretty badass looking witch hunter kind of guy. Looks like he's from the 1600s. And very cool looking. But anyway, I've been so excited. This is just like maybe a quarter of the things that I've been doing from this particular line, and it's been amazingly fun. So I had something else sort of related to work happen just like a week ago. And I got an email from one of my customer/viewer/friends that told me that he had found some guy's channel that had copied some of my videos. I was like, wow, that's pretty weird. So then I wanted to go ahead and just experience the whole DMCA takedown process because, dude, you just totally just copied my videos and put them on your channel. And as I was looking over the channel, he didn't just copy some of my videos. He copied every single one of the the videos from my channel and put them on this other channel. So this channel that was created, it was nothing but my videos. And the reason that he had found these is because if you had watched any of my videos, it was entirely possible that when you were done, they were going to recommend that you watch either another one of my videos or one of my videos on this other guy's channel, which is just really weird. And doing some online sleuthing, it looked like somebody might have been experimenting with copying video content for this Russian website that was all about miniatures. And in order to sort of maybe add another way to monetize it, he'd copied all my videos and then, he'd copied all my videos and then started adding them to that site so that maybe he could get ad impressions on my videos as well as ad impressions on the site. I don't know what the deal was. It was a pretty crappy site. It looks like one that was just sort of hoping to siphon off a little bit of traffic in order to get advertising at some point. Anyway, so this meant, because I really didn't know any other way to do this, I submitted takedown notices for every one of those videos, which meant that I had to submit information for more than 200 videos, which took a good chunk of one evening. And what I discovered is when you're using the YouTube's process for DMC takedown notices, you can submit 10 per notice. So it wasn't as bad as if each one was one video. But still, I did manage to get into a routine where I kind of knew exactly what I needed to do and when, because you have to submit the URL of the video that's infringing, and if you tell them that it is copied from your site, then you have to give them the URL of your video that was copied, presumably so they can compare them. And you have to do that, well, in my case, I had to do that 10 times for every notice, and then start up a new one, fill out all the basic information, and then, URL, URL, new video, URL, URL, new video, URL, URL. It was a pain in the ass. Huge pain in the ass. And the worst part is, I had no idea what was going to happen. 2 days later, that channel was gone. If you went to that channel, it would say, this channel has been taken down due to multiple copyright violations. And I was like, sweet. Well, all's well that ends well. What I don't know is, like, how many of those would I have had to submit, like, minimum in order to get the channel taken down? I don't know. So, I mean, could I have just done 10? Would that have been enough? Could I have done 20 as opposed to having to do 240, I think. Anyway, but it was a lot. And I actually think it's more than that even. But I was very happy that that happened. So as far as work past and future goes, I'm busy again. I know the beginning of the year was quite light, but right now the work keeps coming in. I'm pretty much booked now through the end of May, and June work looks to be shaping up pretty well. I'm going to be doing another batch of the Kingdom Death Monster expansion things like I've shown you here. And since I don't like to do videos on things that I'm doing for the first time, because I just feel like why am I showing you things if I don't really know what I'm doing yet necessarily and still figuring it out? But if I'm doing them the second time, I feel like it's a lot easier to do that and not feel weird about it. So I hope to do at least 1 or 2 videos from that next batch. And again, it always comes down to how much time do I feel like I have? How much do I feel like my schedule is just pressing down on me and saying, no, you need to just paint? And that'll make all the difference. So, what about gaming? I have actually been gaming recently. Over the past few weeks, I've got in 2 games of Age of Sigmar. And you know what? I kind of like it. Actually, more than kind of like it. I really do like it. Since I've been a Warhammer fan since the 80s, and I had pretty much fallen out of it completely. I had fallen out of it completely by the time Age of Sigmar came out. This has really kind of been perfect for me. And I know I mentioned this. I've said that a lot this video. I mentioned this at least a little while back, that I thought Age of Sigmar was a good idea and something that was needed. But the real question was whether or not it has succeeded. And now that I'm playing, I've sort of been diving into online communities, mostly on Facebook, but a little bit on Reddit, just to see what the activity level is like. And it's really up there. I mean, there's definitely a lot of people have adopted it. Although I have to say, overall, it feels like there's still division between those who are kind of angry and still want to play old-style battle game, and those who have accepted and embraced Age of Sigmar. But at least convention-wise and event-wise, that division really just means that there's more choices. So if you want to play the one thing, you can play the one thing. If you want to play the other thing, you can play the other thing. And it's not like Warhammer players as a whole went, no, we're not doing Age of Sigmar. The real question is, and I don't think anybody knows this, is this spurring more sales for the Warhammer Fantasy brand more than previously? Because clearly, as much as any of us may or may not have liked Warhammer as it was on a downward it was on a downward trajectory that didn't seem to be able to pull out with anything other than a radical change as they did. Was it the right change? I don't know. Was there a better possibility? Something else they could have done? I don't know that either. But this does seem to be pulling in new players, and that's important. So I'm kind of curious. I like it. I'm going to be playing it more. Would you stop? I'm going to be playing it more, but we won't really know how this is doing for at least a couple of years because they don't release that kind of information out to us. So there you go. Something else game related that I did recently was I pre-ordered a bunch of stuff for the new Tanks skirmish game coming from Gale Force 9/Battlefront. And if you don't know, Tanks is a 15 millimeter World War II tank battle game done in the style of X-Wing. And so that means that you've got templates for moving, you've got cards that represent your tank, you have other cards that represent the crew on the tank. It looks very approachable. Like, you can go download the rules right now from the Gale Force 9 website. And I'm kind of excited about it. I really like World War II gaming, but I don't want to play heavy games right now. I got out of Flames of War years ago, just because I wasn't really necessarily having any fun. It's a good rule set. They market it well, and if you were into 40K specifically, it would be an easy transition to play that game. But it was just too much for me. Too much to paint, too much. The rules are too heavy. I just like light. I want to be able to jump in, play for a couple of hours, and jump out. And Tanks looks like it's going to fill that void really well. The other neat thing is, price point wise, it's really nice. I think the starter set is 2 tanks and then all the cards and stuff that you need, and that's going to run you about, I think it's $25. Individual tanks to go with it are about $10 to $14, and again, you're going to get a tank and cards. Interestingly, not pre-painted. In fact, these are plastic model kits that you're going to put together and paint yourself, and I actually see that as a plus. I do like it. I do like X-Wing because you get pre-painted things that look nice, but if you want to repaint them, that's okay too. But if given the choice of unpainted, unassembled to paint assembled and crappily painted, I'll take unpainted, unassembled any day. So that's supposed to come out at the end of this month, and I'm really excited about it. You only play with about, I'm guessing, 3 to 5 tanks is all you're going to get. 3 to 5 tanks and their associate crew. Nothing else, no infantry, nothing else, just tank battles. So that should be pretty cool. So I think that's going to be it for today, or really for this month. I have another video that I'm editing right now looking at the final look at the 5,000 subscriber contest model, which I've already shipped out. It's gone, it's done. I've actually been sitting on this video for a little while. Again, back to the just really want to be painting minis. And Honey really wants to go outside, and she's looking at me intently with that I really want to go out look. So I'm going to end this video here. Thank you for everybody for continuing to watch, and as I always say, if you like the video, hit like on the video, and if you haven't already done it, you might want to subscribe so that you don't miss the videos in the future. And if you're feeling really, really, like you want to help out and support the videos, Patreon is there. I'm actually also going to be looking into donations via YouTube. Stop! And there should be perhaps a link on this video that does precisely that, assuming I get it all figured out. And that's just one-time donation. If you're feeling like, I'm just going to throw him a buck right now, And I don't want to worry about subscribing and having to do that over the long term. I'll have you set up for that. Stop it. But that's going to do it for now. And I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.